If you've ever wondered, how often do adult children speak to their parents or find that you're wishing that it happened a little more? This video is for you. Let's unpack some of the details around that and get to what we can do to increase those connections. We'll spend a little time first talking about what the patterns are, what the norms tend to be, and then I'm going to share a powerful tool with you that a lot of people don't have, and you're going to be so glad that you got it. So what is normal? All right, brace yourself. There is no normal. Hopefully that brings a little relief, because whatever you're experiencing is probably normal for you. Now, there are patterns that develop, and there are also expectations and traditions that are set up within families, but we'll take off the pressure of having to conform to anybody else's idea of what normal would be, because it is so different for different families. Some adult children talk to their parents every day. Some adult children talk to their parents only on special occasions, maybe a couple of times a year or less. So the range varies greatly depending on circumstances and family traditions and expectations and all kinds of other factors. I share this with you because I want to invite you to consider that the frequency is not necessarily an indicator of the health of the relationship. There's a lot of factors that can influence it. What really matters more is the quality of the connection, and that the people involved all feel safe in the context of the relationship. I just used the word safe, and that word gets tossed around a lot when we talk about relationships. It really means having a place where you can feel respected and heard and seen. I am a professional psychologist, so I want to help you see some of the psychological roots for the conflicts that we experience in our relationships, including this one. I read a book years ago called The Knight in Rusty Armor, and there was one phrase in that book that really stood out to me, and it went something like this: when we learn to accept rather than expect, we feel far less disappointment. Let's look at those two words because they sound very similar. Accept, expect. When we have an expectation and that expectation is not met, we feel disappointed, upset, like we've been cheated somehow. When we accept what it is, the way it is, without changing anything, there is no reason to feel disappointed, and it changes our emotional energy. If we have a relationship, especially with our adult children, that feels a little strained, the first thing we get to look at is our expectations. And if we could change that expectation into acceptance, it will change the energy of the interaction. So here's an example of what I'm talking about. My kids should call me every Sunday. Now that's an expectation. Are they going to call every Sunday? Probably not. When they don't, how am I going to feel if that's my expectation? I'm going to feel cheated, or like this isn't right. So what if we were to change that to accepting that my kids call me occasionally? Now, it might be hard to overcome that hurdle of, well, but they should, and catch that. Anytime you find yourself thinking they should, whatever, fill in the blanks there, it shows, it reveals to you what your expectation is. This can lead to resentment on the part of your grown kids, or disappointment in your own heart and mind. Adult children are very likely to resist, push back, or pull away anytime they feel judged or criticized or expected to do something that they're not prepared to do. One of the most powerful things that a parent can do in this scenario is to observe their own expectations, manage their own emotional response, and intentionally take a different approach? What if you were to show up with curiosity instead of control? This is one of the things that I've seen help so many families to take that position of being curious, not controlling. Now, let's say that you're in a situation where there is some distance there. Maybe it's been there for a while. You would like to rebuild and reconnect. Start slow. Start with some small gestures of the outreach. Maybe a text or a voice message that you leave that has no expectation attached to it. It's hard to do this because sometimes there's an implied expectation. Hey, you should respond to my text. But if you expect that your adult kids are going to respond to your text and then they don't, how are you going to feel? Disappointed. They might feel resentful that you expect that from them. So you don't include anything in there like, text me back, or I'd really like to hear from you, in that tone, right? Can you put a tone in a text? Oh yeah, you can, and they'll hear it. So detach from that outcome as much as you can and just do the little outreach. Hey, just wanted you to know I was thinking about you. Hey, my life is better because you're in it. Just wanted you to know that I think about you more than you hear from me. Or something. Pick something that has no expectation built into it so that you can just do that small outreach. Another little tip, let's let the past be the past. Sometimes we freeze people in an earlier version of themselves. I remember one of my clients is working on reestablishing a relationship with her adult daughter, now that her daughter is grown, but they have a history of this daughter being very challenging, shall we say, as a teenager. Well, they both remember that. And they both remember the dynamics that were created during that time. Things have changed. They are both in a very different phase of life now. This is an adult we're talking about, not a teenager. And for mom to be able to let go of some of the history, certainly not to bring it up in conversations. Hey, you remember when you did this or that? No, not appropriate. How would you feel if someone were constantly bringing your past back up? So let's watch out for that, shall we? That's a pitfall that you can foresee and avoid. Don't go into the past unless they invite you there, and even then, very cautiously. This new stage of parenting is different from what we're used to, as we're raising our little kids, and it requires a different skill set. It is not too late for you to learn that skill set. Drop into the comments something that you learned from watching this video, and let's work together on identifying what some of those skill sets are. And you know what? I've got your back on this as well. There's another video that I would invite you to watch next. How to be a good parent to your adult children. That one's coming up next. Click on that video. Come on over. Let's go a little deeper.